Welcome back to my channel. This is LA Stewart, the old man on the block. And today we're going to ask the question dealing with independent women. Who is winning? Who is really hurting for Black women's independence? I think we need to address this issue, and I really want to preface this conversation today because this is a echoing theme within the African American community. I'm a strong, independent Black woman. Before I get deep into my topic and my arguments and viewing points, I want to make it very clear. I am an African American male. I come from a mother and father who, as of the date of this video, has been married successfully for 54 years. I have African American daughters. I was married to an African American woman. I'm surrounded by African American cousins who are women. They're both in corporate America. Some own their own business. But I also have to make it very clear that a lot of the women that are independent in my day and in my time are all married. Nevertheless, this echoing theme of being strong, independent, and Black woman has been echoed, and yet I don't see the success or the understanding or even the philosophical need for such statements. I'm using as a premise or as a foundation. This is El Chapo, and his YouTube channel is called Beautiful Lies. Now, as a quick commercial break, I just want Mr. El Chapo, if you see this, I got my chessboard ready for you and the lead attorney. I just want you to know you're not going to beat me in 7 moves, sir. Salute to you. El Chapo, which I'm going to make sure that his YouTube channel and what I'm referencing is in the description below. Nevertheless, El Chapo had articulated very beautifully that he believes that the idea of this independent womanhood is stupid. And he used his military background to kind of argue his viewpoints. I too was in the military, United States Army, and I too am going to argue on the basis of things that I was trained and how I reference that training to what's going on today. The first thing that I learned in basic training, almost immediately on day 2 of basic training, there's no such thing as a Rambo. Here is Rambo, a fictitious character, a Vietnam veteran who basically fought his own independent wars all by himself, creating things by himself, doing everything by himself. He was strictly independent. And it is crazy, but most of us came into the military thinking we can be the next Rambo. But in reality, in basic training, you learn very quickly there's no such things as a Rambo. One of the things that you are strongly taught is everything is a team. Team. Together, each achieves more. It didn't matter where we came from, what color we looked like. It didn't matter of our parents. It didn't matter of our religious views. Didn't even matter whether we were gay, straight, or we had long hair or short hair. We was going to work together as a team whether we liked it or not. And you find out that in working as a team, you can get the mission accomplished. And one thing about understanding the mission is that no one person is above another person. While yes, we have rankings in the military, but each one of us as individual privates, which is the lowest rank in the Army, we was going to work together as a team. Together, each achieves more. The other reference. This photo is extremely important to all Army, Air Force, Marines, Navy, and even Coast Guard. And our biggest word is no man left behind. No matter what the fight was, no matter what the battle was, no matter what the mission was, we was not going to leave anyone behind on the battlefield. We understood that we came together as a team and we're going to leave together as a team. Whether you died on the battlefield, you was hurt on the battlefield, it did not matter. You was not going to be left behind. Each one of us had to learn the code of conduct while we served in the military. Basically, what is code of conduct? We had to act a certain kind of way. We had to be referenced a certain kind of way. We couldn't just wear the military uniform and just do what we wanted to do. We couldn't just go out and just act crazy. There was a certain conduct that we had to have. You're not permitted to do certain things while you wore that uniform and even outside that uniform. We can't just run out here and start crime or do anything crazy. There was a conduct, a way that we had to behave whether we was in or out of uniform. And the most important thing that we had to learn in the military is what we call rules of engagement. It meant, how do we conduct ourselves on the battlefield? From the top generals down to the privates. There was a way we even had to conduct ourselves in combat. One of the most important engagements is number 5. Minimize risks to innocent civilians without endangering the mission. In other words, while we was in combat, fighting against what we would define as the enemy, there was rules in engaging even in the enemy. We could not just kill anybody we wanted to kill just because we had the power to kill them. We had to do the mission, whatever that mission was, but we had to do it with less damage as possible. In the movie Game of Thrones, which is a theme that has been surfacing on the YouTube streets, especially in these intellectual engagements dealing with black men and black women. This is the Dragon Lady. And I reference her because she reminds me of the typical African American, independent, strong-minded woman. She, me, I can do it raw. Here was a woman who started off being married, learning how to be submissive to a man, and she ended up becoming a queen because her first husband had died. Oddly, she became this queen that wanted to make sure that everybody that was enslaved had freedom. Great ideals. But here was her issue. As she began winning battle after battle after battle, what brought down her demise? I'm going to argue her demise was 2 things. 1, she couldn't recognize when the war was over. 2, in her last battle engagement, she did the one thing that we in the military is taught not to do. Not only did she have the dragon destroy a castle, but her dragons also destroy innocent women and children. You know, in the military, if we kill innocent women and children, even on the battlefield, we can be charged with murder. And there's been military people who has went to jail murdering innocent women and children. But here we find that this woman was so engaged in the battle, so engaged in fighting, so engaged in winning, that she was willing to do whatever it takes. And as she began claiming to fight more and more for freedom, in actuality, she was taking away the very freedoms she claimed to be fighting for. In her last deep conversation, she couldn't just have the seven kingdoms. She wanted to have the world. She wanted the world to see her as the queen. She wanted the world to see her as the one. She even made reference that she didn't care what other people thought as long as they seen her as the queen. Ladies, I have a question for you. Who taught you that black men are to be feared and not loved? Who taught you that black men are no good? Who taught you that black men don't have a right to have someone say hello or smile or even a small thank you? Who taught black women that we are abusive? Who taught you black women that we are not worthy of an education, that we are not worthy of respect? Who taught this to you? Who taught you that black men don't want to see you economically successful or successful in a career or successful in your own business? Who taught you these things? Did not black men get together in 1995 called the Million Man's March to man up, to be better men? But you continue a fight that doesn't exist. Who taught you to be independent, to be strong, to fear the black man? He's going to beat you. He's going to whip you. He's going to try to control you. Who taught you these lies? Black women, I say to you, my mother worked all her life until she retired at 62. My father worked all of his life. My mother never had to fight for independence. She's always been an interdependent woman. She shopped. She raised me. Then she raised my sisters, 16 years younger than me. Now she's enjoying her life raising her grandchildren. And I don't want to say raises in the sense of my mother's taking on a responsibility. Her granddaughter is 25 years old, college, working on a master's degree, and she's raising my nephew. Not because my sister can't do it. My mother just loves the job. She doesn't have a lot to do. It keeps her alive, keeps her young. But I don't understand where this hate came from, where this fear came from. Who taught this to you? Ladies, we know in 2021, the studies is already out. Young black men can't even read above the fourth grade reading level. Is this winning? Are you leaving young boys behind? Most of these young men that can't read come from single parent homes, mostly headed by women. You're leaving black men behind. The studies is already out. Most gang members are headed by single mothers. And I'm going to tell you, single mothers are not just in poor neighborhoods. You have gang members that came from so-called economically middle-class women who are single mothers. So some of these gang members even come out of so-called good economic homes. And I know this personally. When I used to work for a woman who was a correction officer, she was a single mother, had 2 sons. She worked many hours, lived in the best neighborhood, had every material thing her sons could ever need or ask for. And she lost one of her sons to the gang, or as she say, she lost her sons to the street. And we also know and could reference Most men in prison today was raised up by a single woman. And trust me, I know. While I never had the chance to do any felony time or prison time, I saw many of my friends who was also raised up by the so-called strong black independent woman went straight to prison. Very few of my friends went to college in the sense of from a single parent home. And ironically, these same men was raised up by them same strong, independent minded women. Ladies, I am very serious about this one question. Are you really winning? What is the mission? What's the code of conduct amongst women? What's the code of engagement? The first question that every military person wants to know, what's the mission? What's the end goal? Is the end goal to be at the top of every single thing, regardless of who we are destroying? Is that the end goal? Is the end goal just for somebody to say you a queen, you a diva, you all that, and a bag of chips, even if it means the black man dying? Is that the end goal? Is that the mission? I'm 54 years old. I've been on a dating scene ever since I was maybe 49. And I'm going to tell you, ladies, it's pathetic. It's pathetic. And I'm probably going to do another video to talk about my experiences on a dating scene. Some successful, but a whole lot was tragedy. But nevertheless, are you really winning? And I'm going to be perfectly honest. Based on what I see as an older man, as a man who has degrees in theology, history, political science, we're losing. We're losing badly. We're losing on the political front. Ladies, what are you going to do when all the black men decide to leave the Democratic Party and go run to the Republican Party, which is happening now? You're losing because black men do not go to church, very few, and is not looking to go back anymore. Are you winning in the church? Black men's new language now is no longer even trying to date women with children. That's a whole nother story. Are you really winning? Black men today are so afraid or have been made to fear you more than you could ever fear us. Are you really winning? You've joined organizations that has kept black men silent for 20 years. And now you want us to express ourselves, and when we do, you send everything after us. Me Too movements, the court system, everything. Are you winning? We're not winning. We're losing. I see things today that I didn't even see in my lifetime. When I grew up, having a strong black family was the foundation of the black community. In my lifetime, in my early 20s, it wouldn't have even been a thought for a black man to even want to go to a white woman or a Hispanic woman or anybody outside of their quote unquote culture or race. Today, I see black men giving up. And as an older black man that, yes, want that strong black, independent, conservative-minded black family, I don't even know what to tell these young men. I don't even know what to tell a man that's my age, 54. What do we do? Where is this going? Where is this mission? Where is this independent stuff going? I get it if you're saying you want to be independent in the sense of having your own business. Great. Black women has had their own independence when it came to owning businesses. Black women has been the leaders when it came to being on stage and theater. You've always had that. You have the right to vote. Black men supported that, because if a black woman can vote and a black man can vote, then we can vote together and deal with our governance and how we want to be governed. But black women, we're losing. We're losing. As I said earlier, our conduct is horrible. Our rules of engagement is killing us bigger than you ever know. You know, I think it's sad that we can't even have an honest intellectual conversation about what's going on. You know how many 50-year-olds I see and hear living alone? You know how many 50-year-olds I meet wish they had some biceps laying next to them, and yet they'd rather be independent. And the ones that's looking for a man, they won't change their ways. Again, I'll talk about my looking and seeking relationships. The reality is, ladies, I agree with El Chapo. This independent-minded stuff, is it really allowing you to win? Are you really winning? You know, from what I see, this is statistics. What I see walking and listening to women each and every single day, the answer to that is you're not winning. You're losing. You know, I heard a great reference. It says sometimes you could be placed in cold water and you could swim and do all this great stuff in the water. But slowly but surely the temperature is being turned up. And sooner or later it's going to be at a boiling point. And because you don't see the heat, because you don't feel it at the moment, sooner or later you're going to die in that boiling water of independence. Well, this is all I had to say. This is L.A. Stewart, the old man on the block. Hit that comment, hit that like, hit that share, but please leave me a comment. And like I said, I'm going to reference El Chapo's video in the description below. Peace, blessings to you.